when I was going through all this, I was like, oh man, these are all traits I have to work on in some way. And I could almost point to specific instances where I'm like, oh man, really needed humility there, or I just needed to listen, or I needed to own up to those mistakes, or I just needed to make a decision, things like that. And one of the things is functioning through risky things. And that's one of the hardest things for me is like, things are always going to be a risk, uncertain, and going forward, like that's like that's my biggest thing. It's just
I think one of the things
being steady in the unknown.
one of the things with risk is it's kind of hard to measure
Yeah,
the size of the risk. So even a small risk could still feel very big, and a big risk could just
exactly.
feel minuscule. But if you end up doing it and it not working out, then it's just a big.
Yeah, you could do something really risky, had no idea that was risky,
Yeah,
and be like, oh, learn
And
about it later. Go, what?
it blows
I
up in your
coulda, you know,
face. Yeah,
yeah, but or you could some tiny thing, and I guess that's one thing that people struggle with is there's a tiny thing and it seems very risky. It seems like a big danger when it's not.
mm-hmm.
And I feel that way with a lot of things, especially after I do them. I thought all these things that I started, I was like, oh, this ain't shit. Like, so that's my biggest thing is like thinking thinking things are a big risk all the time. And sometimes they are, and sometimes they're just not really. So it's one of those things to just fight. That's, I don't know, man. Yeah. So I really like that question because it's self-reflection, but you have to think about how you were
Yeah.
and then how you are going forward. Because once you go, like, say you were a dangerous person, or you're a dangerous person right now, in a sense, like you abuse, say, alcohol a lot and it gets you aggressive or something. And, you think back, like, would I feel safe as a kid? And you remember this alcoholic guy that was the same way that you didn't feel safe around. And you're like, oh shit, that's me. Like that's me. And then you got to go forward with that. Like,
Yeah.
like that's sort of, it's a good question. It's one I almost was like, whatever, man. Like, why are we doing this? But I feel like you could really dive into it.
No,
Yeah.
definitely. At first I put it down. I was thinking, oh, yeah, that's gonna be something light. That's
Yeah.
gonna be something. It's gonna be easy. Yeah. It's gonna be like what 10-minute conversation.
Yeah.
And then you dig deeper into it, and there's just so much more, so many different layers, and so many different ways to look at it.
Yeah.
Your point of view or your research was differed from my research,
Which
and
I enjoy that. Like
Yeah.
the different, like it, I didn't really disagree with anything you said, but just the perspective it came from, it kind of meshed the two together and
It did.
gave a broader insight. And,
and Cody was right. We do work well together.
but
Shout out to Cody.
dang.
Yeah. Sorry, go ahead.
Oh no.
You were gonna say something. I interrupted.
I totally forgot. But, wow, you threw me way off with that. I don't remember.
What part?
I think you just said like Cody or something.
Oh yeah, the
Damn it, Cody. It does feel nice. Oh yeah, I sat down at the computer and I thought, this is going to be 20 minutes I'll be spending on here. I'll probably write a couple things down, and I ended up spending 40 minutes on there. And I was looking, I'm like, I didn't even write that much down. Like I felt like I could have written so much more. And so I almost feel like this is just the briefest, like slightest overview that one can have on this question.
Oh no, definitely.
Because you could go up into all sorts of developmental stuff.
There's
just-
a lot that goes into it.
Yeah.
But I did research for. I want to say it just not even really research. I was just reading on it, and I took an hour of my day just to do it, and I felt like I was just scratching the surface.
Yeah. And one thing I really want to see, I would love to hear like a father's perspective on that question. Because when you have kids, then I feel like it's almost like that question in a way put into practice. I mean, it's a little different because you know, they're not the exact same as you. Kids are different. Um, but a lot of things will overlap with raising a child, I feel like. And, you know, that would be something I would love to either ask my dad or my brother or something and just be like, hey, you know, what do you think of this from the perspective of being a parent?
Mm-hmm.
So there's a lot of facets you could go down. And so I ended up enjoying the question a little more than I thought I would.
No, definitely.
So
Same.
it's
Likewise.